The autumn wind whipped across the playground of Harrison Elementary School, scattering faded brown leaves across the cracked blacktop like broken promises. The air smelled of stale pizza and the coming winter, and the late afternoon sun cast long, eerie shadows that stretched between the battered swing sets and the worn-out slide. Most of the kids had already caught the bus home an hour ago, their shouts and laughter dying out in the quiet streets of this overlooked part of Gary, Indiana. Evelyn Reed walked slowly towards the faculty parking lot, her old canvas tote bag heavy with ungraded tests. At 64 years old, she had dedicated 41 years to teaching at this school, watching generations of children shuffle through her classroom. Next month would be her last, retirement. The word felt alien on her tongue, like saying goodbye to a piece of her own soul. Her husband Frank had passed away 3 years ago, and the school was all she really had left. The kids, the daily grind, the sense of purpose. She was just about to unlock her beat-up Buick when she heard it, a sound that chilled her to the bone. Not the joyful yells of children, but something far more sinister, a cry of pain, a whimper that cut through the silence. Before we go any further, if you believe in good people, second chances, and standing up for what's right, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, because stories like this show us that kindness can be found in every corner of this country. Evelyn moved towards the sound, her sensible shoes crunching on the gravel path behind the old janitor's closet. Hidden from the view of the main building, she found them, 4 high school bullies, maybe 15 or 16 years old, were surrounding a smaller kid. The boy was huddled on the ground, curled up in a fetal position, his arms covering his head. His clothes were ripped, and a trickle of blood ran from his nose. One of the bigger teens drew back his foot to deliver another kick. "What's the matter? Freak? Gonna cry for your motorcycle, man?" Evelyn didn't hesitate. 41 years of teaching had given her a voice that could stop a freight train. She used it now. "Stop, right there." The teens froze. They turned around. Their faces went from sneering to surprised, and then to amused when they saw the old woman standing there, small and gray-haired, clutching her bag like a shield. "Mind your own business, lady." One of them smirked. "This ain't your problem." But Evelyn was already moving forward, placing herself between the boy and his tormentors. Her heart pounded against her chest, her hands trembled slightly, but her voice remained steady and strong. "This boy is my problem. This school is my problem. And if you take one more step towards him, I will make sure the police know every single one of your names. I have taught in this neighborhood for 4 decades. I know your parents. I know your grandparents. Try me." The lead bully hesitated. Something in the old woman's eyes, something fierce and unwavering, made him take a step back. His friends shuffled uncertainly behind him. "Fine," he muttered. "He ain't worth it anyway." They slunk away, hurling insults over their shoulders, but they were gone. Evelyn watched them go until they disappeared around the corner of the building. Then, she turned to the boy. He was maybe 11 years old, small for his age, with dark hair that fell into eyes that held too much sadness for someone so young. His lip was split, and a bruise was already blooming on his cheek. But what Evelyn noticed most was the patch sewn onto his backpack, red and white, wings and a skull. Iron Horseman. She knelt beside him, her old knees popping in protest. "Can you stand?" she asked softly. The boy nodded, wiping blood from his face with the back of his hand. "I'm okay." His voice was quiet, almost ashamed. "What's your name?" Billy Hanson." Evelyn helped him to his feet. "Well, Billy, I'm Mrs. Reed, and you are coming with me to get that face cleaned up." She took him to the school nurse's office, which was still open because of after-school programs, as she cleaned his wounds with gentle hands. Billy told her about the bullying. It had been going on for months, ever since the other kids found out who his father was. "They call him a criminal," Billy whispered. "A thug. They say he kills people, but he doesn't. He's just my dad. He works on motorcycles. He takes me fishing on weekends. He's not a bad person." Evelyn listened. She didn't judge. She had seen too much in her years to believe that people could be neatly labeled as good or bad. When Billy was cleaned up, she drove him home. Following his directions to a modest house on the outskirts of town, the man who answered the door was exactly what Evelyn expected, and nothing like it at all. Tall, broad-shouldered, tattoos snaking up his neck and down his arms, a beard that made him look like something out of a biker movie. But his eyes, when they landed on Billy's bruised face, were filled with a father's raw fear. What happened? His voice was a deep growl, but the worry in it was unmistakable. Billy explained what happened. Evelyn filled in the details. The man, who introduced himself only as Hanson, listened with a face like granite. When the story was finished, he turned to Evelyn. "You stood up to those kids," he said slowly, as if still trying to wrap his head around it. "You protected my son." Evelyn shrugged, suddenly self-conscious. Any decent person would have done the same. Hanson shook his head. "No, any decent person would have called the cops. Or looked the other way. You put yourself between my boy and danger." He extended his hand, and she took it. His grip was firm but gentle, as if he was afraid of breaking her. "You have no idea what this means to me, to us." Evelyn went home that night not thinking much more about it. She had done the right thing. That was all. She filed a report with the school administration the next morning, naming the Bullies, and continued with her week. 7 days later, on a Friday, Evelyn was walking to her classroom when she heard it. A distant thunder, a growing rumble. She stopped, tilted her head, tried to figure out where it was coming from. The sound grew louder, closer. The windows started to vibrate. Students rushed to look outside. Teachers crowded the hallways. The principal came running from his office, his face pale, and Evelyn, drawn by something she couldn't explain, walked to the main entrance and stepped outside. The street was filled with motorcycles, not just a few, not even 50. 200 Harleys lined every inch of available space, engines idling like the heartbeat of some massive beast. Leather vests gleamed in the morning light, red and white patches blazing like flags. And standing in front of them all, Billy by his side, was Hanson. The principal appeared at Evelyn's side, stammering something about permits and safety regulations, but Hanson was already walking towards them, and his presence silenced everything. "Mrs. Reed," Hanson rumbled, "last week, you did something nobody else has done in 11 years of my son going to school in this city. You stood up for him. Evelyn, you protected him. You saw him as a kid, not just as some motorcycle man's son." Evelyn Reed felt her cheeks flush. "I was just doing what any teacher should do." Billy Hanson smiled, a rare expression that softened his hard features. "That is exactly the point, Evelyn. You did what you should do, what so many others refuse to do." He gestured behind him. "These are my brothers and sisters, members of the Iron Horsemen. When I told them what you did, they all wanted to come, to say thank you, to show you that you are not alone." A woman stepped forward, gray-streaked hair pulled back, kind eyes above a weathered face. She carried a cardboard box. "We heard Harrison Elementary's been having budget problems," she said. "New books, art supplies, whatever you need." Another rider approached with an envelope, and we took up a collection. "For your retirement, Evelyn, we heard you've given 4 decades to these kids. This is from all of us." Evelyn opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was more money than she had saved in years. Tears blurred her vision, but that wasn't all. Billy nodded to a group of bikers who rolled a brand new motorcycle into view. "Actually, we couldn't find one your size," he said, a hint of humor in his voice. "So we got you something else." Behind the motorcycle was a car, a practical sedan with a bright red bow on the hood. "For your retirement, Evelyn, so you can drive wherever you want." The students and teachers gathered at the windows erupted into cheers. Billy ran to Evelyn and hugged her, his small arms wrapping around her waist. "Thank you, Mrs. Reed," he whispered. "Thank you for seeing me." Evelyn held the boy close, tears streaming down her face. "Always," she said. "I will always see you." The Iron Horsemen stayed for an hour. They visited classrooms, posed for photos with star-struck students, and one of them gave an impromptu talk about the importance of anti-bullying. The same bullies who had attacked Billy watched from the principal's office, their parents already called, their faces pale with the realization of what they had done. Before leaving, Billy Hansen found Evelyn one last time. She was sitting on a bench near the playground, still overwhelmed. "You changed my son's life, Evelyn," he said quietly, sitting beside her. "But more than that, you reminded me that there are still good people in this world. People who do not judge. People who act." Evelyn smiled through her tears. "That's what teachers do. We see potential, not problems. We see children, not labels." Billy nodded slowly. "If you ever need anything, anything at all, you call this number." He pressed a card into her hand. "You are family now, Mrs. Reed, and our family takes care of its own." The engines roared to life and 200 motorcycles pulled away from Harrison Elementary School, leaving behind a legend that would be told for decades. And Evelyn Reed, with 4 weeks left until retirement, realized that her greatest lesson had just been taught. And before we end, we have one special request for you. Comment below with the words, "Teachers are heroes," to show that you stand with Mrs. Reed and every educator who protects their students, because sometimes standing up for one child can inspire an army to stand behind you. Remember, the smallest act of courage can change the world. It can spark a movement. It can give someone hope when they need it most.